Hola, hola. Welcome to Dímelo with me, Claudia, where I talk to people in the sports world about their jobs, passions, and challenges. We have fun, we get personal, and sometimes it feels like a therapy session, but don't worry, it's only good fun. Hello. I might start making this a thing where I talk a little bit before an episode. It's fun. But I know that if I did this, I would just talk endlessly. And I know that I'm not the biggest fan of podcasts that have a long intro. So I'm going to cut straight to the point. I wanted to add a little bit of context with this interview that you're about to listen to. So in this episode, I am highlighting a local soccer club, Frederick Skyline, and their president, Joel Ramirez. So Frederick Skyline has a men's team and a women's team who compete in the UPSL. That's the United Premier Soccer League. Now, Joel is not only the president of Frederick Skyline, but he's also the one who created the club, which is incredible. And he also created a local nonprofit organization called Skyline Sports Union, which helps low-income athletes play club-level soccer. So as you might know, soccer is pay to play, and not a lot of kids have the chance to play club sports, club soccer, because of how expensive it is. I mean, I played club soccer growing up, and I remember like one time hearing the fees that my parents were paying for me to play. And that kind of shut me the hell up when I would start complaining about, I don't want to go to soccer practice today. Like, you know, I was really fortunate to be able to play club soccer for 10 years. And not everybody has that opportunity. So what he's doing is amazing in the community. And I enjoyed this interview while it was going on. But then when I went back to edit the interview, I enjoyed it even more, just because I really got to take in the answers as I was editing it all. There's a lot of passion coming from Joel about why he started Frederick Skyline and why he started Skyline Sports Union, and really for someone to give up so much of their time to all of this with really not looking for anything in return but wanting to help other people is really cool, and it's really motivational to have done this interview. So with that, I will finally cut to the interview. I hope you enjoy it. Talk to me a little bit about the creation of Frederick Skyline FC, how it came to be, where the idea came from, how you made it possible.
The way it started was we kind of just started as like Westernville a little bit. And then we had a dozen people coming out. We had just random kids from like Frederick and Montgomery County, as I mentioned before. And then we had like a terrible season. It was awful. I don't think we only won, I think, one game and tied one. So after that, we knew we had to rebrand very quickly and change things up. So that's what we did. I ended up hiring one of my best friends, Matt Beatty. He did amazing in the program. He took a team that obviously did nothing, but it's not the players' fault. It's just we're a brand new team in a league with teams that have been together for years. But brought some players in. We did some recruiting. We rebranded to Skyline City. And then once that started going well, we had different sponsors come in. And they were kind of asking the questions of, so how are people going to know you're from Frederick? We were like, oh, okay, rebrand again. So we ended up rebranding to Frederick Skyline, which kind of took off. Which brought the motto of United Believe the Sky's the Limit, which obviously uniting the soccer behind the community, having everybody believe they can play the sport, and then knowing that as long as they're with us here at Skyline, the sky is the limit. And that's from the kids all the way up to the top, anyone involved volunteer-wise, staff-wise, coaches, knowing that they have a chance here to reach any goal that they can reach. And that motto alone has brought hundreds of fans, but also players, more staff, more recognition. And then after an amazing season for the men last season in the fall, made it to the semifinals, hosting a playoff game here in Frederick. Fortunately lost. And then the women doing very well in their spring season. And then after talking to the coaches, staff, board members, we ended up deciding to launch. Talked to some close family members as well. My dad, importantly, he was like, if you're going to do this, you need to make sure you're going to do this. Because nothing was really like big. We kind of just were private. And then announcing was like, hey, now you have a business. Now you have to win. Now you have to provide atmosphere where fans want to come. And on January 10th, we did ribbon cutting. Players, some new sponsors showed up. That was a great atmosphere. Once that got posted, that's when my phone is a lot. A lot of messages, a lot of emails, a lot of meetings on top of trying to run everything. So it's a very open moment, but it's a blessing. I thank God for putting me in this position, but a lot of the players are excited. They've wanted this for so long. And now that we're here, it's now the time to perform. Now the guys play tomorrow. The women start next month, so it's going to be amazing.
So you really hone in on the message of what Frederick Skyline represents and the message that you guys have, which seems to make you pretty unique. How are you guys taking that message in all the philosophies and all the values of the teams? How are you guys spreading that message every single day to these players?
Kind of just giving the key word is opportunity, right? Yes, we have our motto, but the key factor of everything that brings everything together is opportunity. Obviously, you involved in the sports world, you probably heard it all. I've been injured, or academically I wasn't able to do it, or the one that's mostly used is I have a kid and work and life. So this kind of just gives the opportunity of what now? Like, this is an open door. We will work with you. A lot of players have jobs. A lot of players don't have jobs. They kind of do it for a living, and we help them out there. Some staff members are working 9 to 5 and coming to be coaches. It's just about the opportunity, and they love it. So we always, when things get hard, we kind of just send a message in, either myself or the coaches or the players themselves that have been here since the beginning. Like, hey, like, it's a work in progress. Things take slow. Like they say, slow and steady wins the race. So we've been very slow with everything, but we always announce the message and everything. Like, hey, this is why you're here. Remember why you're here, and just be patient. And ever since then, it's been amazing.
Now, of course, you're saying, some of these players might have, other jobs, they've got kids, and there's a lot going on for them. I'm very curious, because sports is obviously very competitive. So there's always trying to find the balance of, you know how it is. It's competitive at all levels. You'll even see a 5-year-old team and the parents are yelling, like, that might be me one day. But
Oh, yeah.
how do you balance, bringing in that competitiveness? Because everybody loves that at the end of the day. Like, lots of people will get into sports because they like that aspect of sports, but also making sure that everybody is enjoying themselves on the team, is enjoying game days, enjoying trainings, enjoying the process of it all.
Honestly, I think it's their safe space. A lot of players that obviously never got the opportunity to go pro, this is their like and highest level. This is their home. This is their place where you have a bad day at work, they come over here and then their mind clears. Prime example, one of our captains currently, he knows who he is. It's like, hey, like, this is what makes me happy. Like, this is where I come to be happy. Like, soccer is what I do to relieve stress. And just hearing those words, it's like, these are why they're here. They're here to also test themselves at a high level and to reach their goal of maybe going beyond us, but also being here because it's stress free. Yes, there's games that are competitive and stress free, but at the end of the day, everybody's here because this team and this sport is their stress reliever. It's their home, and it's their reliever of, like, I tell some of the players that have tough moments, like, hey, make this your safe space. I don't care what happens out there, but the moment you touch the field or you put on a jersey, you need to be focused here and make sure you're happy here. And so far, we have some players that have gone and come, but the ones that have gone, I still talk to, and they're like, hey, like, I was my happiest there, even though some circumstances wasn't great. That was my safe place. And it's amazing because Frederick alone as a community is very close.
For you, is this kind of like your safe space as well? You said that this was your father's dream, and here you are taking it on, and finding success early on. Is it kind of a safe space for you? Is this kind of like the passion project for you in a way?
Yeah, because it's my family's very big on soccer, and my dad he works probably 7 days sometimes. If there's an eighth day, he'll work an eighth day if he had to, a week, and it's a lot on him. He's kind of like the old-fashioned provider that everybody looks up to, and he's loved in the community. Like, there's a lot of friends that I've grown up to. Like, he does work for them, and their parents love him as well. He's very loved in our circle. I don't think he knows how much he's loved. Um, but taking it on has been great. Like, this is my passion. Eventually, I would love to do this full time, and I think that's coming in the fall. Little secret right there. So looks like it's going to be happening very soon. And it's just, again, no, it gives me fire being able to, like, the fire I had playing as a child in the college was, this is my fire now. Like, I don't really have that fun environment now where I'm playing competitive anymore. It's doing this. It's giving the kids all the way up to the adults the opportunity to play and just seeing their smiles on my face. Like I told my wife, is I would drain myself to make sure these 30 plus guys and 30 plus women and then the 14s we have for kids have a place to play. And the players have started to notice, like, okay, Joel really needs to kind of relax a little bit. He's overworking himself, but they're happy. And as long as they're happy, I'm good. I'm always never done. That's kind of comes with my dad's side. Like, I could work 8 days if there was 8 days.
Yeah.
But it's amazing. Like, it really is my piece, even though it gives me a heck of emotions here and there, but it's great.
To start anything new, I mean, it's difficult, especially when it's something that you haven't done before. I mean, you have a history and a background in soccer, but like to start a new club, like that's not easy. And I'm sure there are so many challenges, whether people see them or not. And I'm sure there's a lot that goes on behind the scenes that people don't see that you carry well. I mean, like how do you navigate that? Like I'll say here, like I'm having a big career change in the moment and I'm scared shitless, to put it nicely. And like for you to start a new project, like I love listening to what you're already saying and what we're going to keep talking about. Like it's not easy to do this. Like for you, how do you get through the challenges? How do you get through, because when you start something new, the fear is kind of like, well, what if it fails? And then obviously it's like, well, what if it doesn't fail? Imagine what it can do. But like, how do you navigate that, the challenges and the what if it goes poorly?
Honestly, it's the help.
Yeah.
I would say, prime example, Mr. Coach Jake for the women's. He's been a great asset for me. He's been a great help. He actually coached me in high school, which is funny, but now he's coaching one of my teams. He's been a great help. The girls team, the boys team, the men's have a little catching up to do with helping, but we're men, we're stubborn. But the women has been a great help as well, a very great help. Honestly, it's just the help I get. If I can get someone to just grab water for me, that would get me to do 7 other things in a matter of 30 seconds. And it's just stuff like that. Navigating it, it's honestly just finding the right people. I know we've been in and out of board members for the nonprofit side, but I think I have a great team now. And that's what's been able to get me freedom, some weight off my shoulders, even though I will take on like 7, 10 other tasks just so I can do it correctly because it's my vision. But now it's our vision, and just being able to be open-minded to everybody else and navigating has been easy with all the help that I've gotten. If it's for volunteers, the coaches that are paid, the players when they are available to come to some events, the wife or the friends that just do the booth for a game because I have no other people. It's honestly people that just step up. And if it wasn't for them, this wouldn't be possible at all.
What have you learned? What have you learned about yourself along the way? Have you like really learned more about yourself while starting all of this?
Yeah. So I've learned I can do a lot more when it's just me.
Yeah.
But I also learned that I lose sleep a lot. So when that happens, it's like, hey, like my family tells me like, hey, you need to sleep, or like, hey, you need to relax, or hey, like back up a little bit. But since then, it's just been, I've learned a lot. I've become very more disciplined, even though sometimes it won't show. But that's what happens behind the curtains. Is I let a lot of the emotions sometimes come out, but majority of it is behind curtains. And I've learned to be able to just smile and be happy once the games kick off, or smile and be happy when they're practicing or when they score a goal. Like, I'm probably the biggest fan of this team and I own it. Like, that says a lot.
I could tell throughout everything that you're saying how passionate you are about this, and for someone to give so much time to a project like this, a club like this, you know that they love soccer, you know that they're passionate about this. For you, how good does it feel to be able to, in a way, kind of serve the community and really help grow soccer in Frederick?
It feels good. I know we can't please everybody, but for those that don't think it's good, I kind of just brush off a little bit and keep going, because I have, like I said, 60 to 65 players that are here and they're playing and we're winning so far. But it feels really good, especially how far we've come. We've been very slow and steady. There's been other clubs that have come around and have dissolved, or they just aren't at where we're at right now, and that's because everything's rushed. So it feels good to know that when you take your time, things do come, but it's a roller coaster. It's a really big roller coaster, and I hope Frederick sees like, hey, this is serious now. Like we're here to support you guys. Hope you guys support us. But we're also here to bring something back to Frederick as a thank you from us to them.
You've spoken a little bit about it already, but like, how has the support been from the community, and then vice versa? How has the club been in the community? Like, what's the mutual relationship been like so far?
So right now it's just in the beginning stages. I kind of fought myself because maybe we should have launched earlier to bring the attention up, but it's a great time right now. I know we have basketball now. Now there's us, so we have three big sports in Frederick, which is amazing. And it's all about connections now, networking. The Frederick Chamber of Commerce has events every week, and when I show up, I've gotten very close to probably the youngest in the room the entire time, but I've gotten close to some of the people that have been there for a while, and they're excited. I've seen nothing but excitement. So we want to be very, very passionate what we do and make sure we bring something back to everybody. Say thank you. I do see it growing a lot more. This is just season one. I think in the fall, it's definitely going to grow a lot.
Is it a bit intimidating being the youngest one in the room, or does that kind of give like a fresh young energy and kind of give you a little bit of motivation?
I mean, I think it's a little motivation.
Yeah.
I think people look at me and be like, I wish I was you at 26. But like one guy I've met, he has his own cookie shop. He's like, how old are you? I'm like 26. And he was like, I just walked away and laughed. And I was like, yeah, I get that a lot. But it's great. Like there's other young business owners in the chamber, and it's great connecting with them and knowing that our generation is actually going to be taken over, but know that we're in a great path. There's a lot of great minds out there, a lot of great entrepreneurs in Frederick. And that's what makes Frederick great is everybody has a goal and you can do it here. Like community is so small, but big, but everybody knows everybody and it's great.
Why was it so important for you? Are you specifically from Frederick, or is that kind of where you eventually moved and then spent lots of years in?
So I'm actually originally from Montgomery County. Um, I moved here in '05 in October. And then since then, it's just been the growth. Like when I was in high school at Tuscarora, we had a farm across the street. Now it's a bunch of houses. So it's like Frederick has grown tremendously. And it's like, this is a perfect place to do it. But I've always loved Frederick, even though I told my wife I wouldn't move sometimes just because I've been here since 2005. But it's also a safe place. Like it's home. It's what you call home. My parents are here. My wife's family's here. The kids are here. So it's great to grow up in and just there is nothing like Frederick. Like there's no sports that are growing like we are right now. Like the Frederick Keys. Now we have the basketball team, the Cows. Now there's us, Skyline. And I can see more potential sports coming to where Frederick's like the place to be. And that's our goal as everybody brings in new sports or these new young minded come in as business owners is to grow Frederick, to make Frederick a staple where like, hey, if you're not in Frederick, you might want to come out here and be in Frederick for a little bit. But it's the people, like the people are great. Like I would go downtown and see people I haven't seen since high school. You're like, you're still here? Oh, you're still here? And it's like, yeah. So like nobody
Haven't
really leaves,
left.
but when they leave, they tend to come back. So yeah. So it's like they'll leave and then they come back. So it
Yeah.
happens.
Oh, I love. I'm from Bowie, Maryland, so PG County, and like up until just recently,
Oh Lord.
like I was in there forever. I'm born and raised in the DMV, been in the DMV forever. Like, will I ever leave? Who knows? But I love
Yeah.
the area, so I can totally feel what it's like having a place that is just your home, and you just want to do what you can to improve the area and live out your passions as well and do it in the community that has served you so much. Before you started Skyline, did you like ever hesitate? I mean, I don't know if there was ever maybe a point where maybe you almost didn't start Frederick Skyline.
There was, because I was
Yeah.
actually playing with other teams that were having the same goal. But I kind of just wanted to do it myself, kind of just prove a point, like, hey, like it is doable. Because there's a lot of hesitant when it comes to starting something like this. Obviously, ever since we've actually launched, there's been more clubs. Another club is Athletic United, that's in the UPSL. we actually started at the same time when we were known as Westernville, and we've kind of been the only two that been growing the same way. Shout out to their owners; they're great as well. That team is amazing. But it's good knowing that I didn't give up, even though others did, because now I'm like, I mean, I have an interview with you. I have a ribbon cutting from Frederick. Like it's just growing tremendously. It's amazing.
On top of Frederick Skyline, you also have started a youth club as well. Which one came first?
So the adults came first, which is now
Okay.
known as Frederick Skyline. So we have a separate entity called Skyline Soccer Union, which pretty much is just giving the opportunity for the unfortunate kids. We like to target Title I schools, which is known in our community as like the kids of that are financially unstable to do certain things. So when we target those individuals, we talk to the parents. A prime area for us is out 40, is what we call it here in Frederick, like the Hillcrest area. There's a couple of other schools on that list. And pretty much what I do is I provide a season for them and a club for them at affordable rate, and we teach them the same curriculum, the same development skills at a more slower rate, but a funner rate. Because I don't think it should cost $1,000 for a kid between 3 and 17 at least. $1,000 you kick a soccer ball. That's not needed.
Yeah. Yeah.
I know when I was growing up, it was affordable, and now I look at the rates and it's insane. But that comes with the economy, that comes with other stuff. But at the same time, it's doable, and we've done it. This will be our second season with those kids. One of our teams actually won the finals last year in our first season ever, and it just showed like, hey, like these kids can do it. And now we have 4 teams. We're growing as it comes. We have new guys, a couple new players that came out this past week for training. And when I talk to their parents, they're like, "How old are you again?" I'm like, "There's that question." But they're like, "Yeah, like dude, like this is amazing." We charge almost, I think, I did the math, 65 to 70% less than other clubs in the area.
Wow.
Obviously, it's still a developmental stage, but it speaks value that you're able to bring a winning mentality and work at affordable rate. And so far, we're still striving our goal to make it less, but we're just not there yet.
Yeah. No, I played travel soccer in the area. I played for what's now called Maryland United, but used to be called Free State.
Oh wow, okay.
Yeah, I played for them for several years, from like U8 to U18. And obviously, like my parents were the ones paying for it. But I remember my mom saying like it's
Yeah.
not cheap to do this, because there'd be days where I'm like, I don't want to go to practice. She's like, we're paying for this, like you're freaking going. And obviously I'm
You're
happy
going.
that, some
Yeah.
days you need a little motivation, and I obviously loved it every time I'd show up to practice. But as I've gotten older, I see what it's like to play sports. I mean, you think about soccer, like I think hockey is even expensive, like all these sports that are just so expensive, and it takes so many kids that are talented or could be even more talented just out of the conversation, because it's not something that their parents can afford to pay. And I think the fees can be so ridiculous. I mean, for you, why was it so important to create this youth club? Is it a situation that you were in, or maybe a situation that you saw someone in, or how did it come about that this was something that was so important to you that you started it?
It's a little bit of both. I had a couple of friends that, like I said, my father, he's a hardworking man, so we were able to afford it when we could. And I met a lot of great friends on the way playing with the clubs in our area. But there was also friends I had that never was able to play club because they couldn't afford it, and they were better than me. Like there were some good players, very good players. And as the years gone, you just kept seeing the same pattern of players would rather go play Sunday league with their parents because they couldn't play club because they couldn't afford it. But they were wasted talents because it all came down to money, and they were very talented players. That's why a lot of some players that I've known personally would take high school or college soccer very seriously, so they can get out and go show their talents. So when this came upon, actually, I went to Hillcrest to do a conversation about the men's program, and I spoke to a mom there, and we were speaking in Spanish. She was like, "Hey, do you have anything for the kids? Because we just can't afford the club rates." And the next day, I sat down, created a business plan, and then it launched a week later. We did a summer camp, and then we ended up our first season. We had 2 teams, both were co-ed, 7th and 8th grade, 5th and 6th graders, and the youngest team actually won everything. It was amazing to see. And since then, it's been more families coming and supporting the mission because it's doable. Whoever says it's not doable is just stuck in the old ways. It's very doable, but it's definitely, like, from my own experience, for some stuff that we couldn't really afford when it came to tournaments and stuff as a player, but also seeing friends not even be able to touch a club jersey because the fees were too high.
Now, listen, I know how sports is. I know week to week is very different, especially for someone like you who's got jobs everywhere. I'm very curious what a normal kind of week looks like for you, doing the semi-professional club, doing the youth club. I don't know if you have other things going on. Like, what does a normal week look like for you?
So another week for me is probably I wake up around, it depends if I'm working from home or not. So if I'm not working from home, I have a full-time job where I work 6 to 2 sometimes. And if I'm working from home, I wake up at like probably 7:30, 8, and then get my day started. And then if it's Tuesday, Thursday, by like 5 o'clock, I'm already on the field with the kids. Um, and then for the guys, they train at 8 o'clock, and the women train at 8 o'clock. Sometimes 8:30 on Tuesday and Thursday. So Tuesday and Thursdays are jam packed. The other days, I don't really have much to do, but I somehow find myself either on the computer doing more Skyline stuff or preparing for the next season. So I would say probably a 12-hour day is my normal day, to be honest. Then I have the wife and the kids, and then I gotta be remembered sometimes. Like, I'm surprised my wife hasn't just closed my laptop randomly sometimes, but it happens. So I have to remember, like, hey, do have family time and wife time. So I'm pretty jam packed. It's 12 to 16 hours a day just doing something. Then I go to bed and do it all over again.
So, with having started the semi-pro team and the youth academy, are you a coach for any of the teams, or like what are your responsibilities in managing everything? Like, are you really in the trenches for this stuff, or are you doing a lot more admin stuff? Like, what does that look like for you?
So I do, from what I'm told from some players, I do everything. So pretty much what that looks like is I own the adult side for men and women, but I'm also president for the nonprofit side. But it's pretty easy to manage both just because the coaches are volunteers. So I coach I had to step away from the men's side this season just because I can't give them 100% if I'm doing both, and we can't grow if I'm doing both. So I ended up hiring a great friend of mine who's a brand new coach. His first day is tomorrow for the game, so I'm excited to see him coach. He actually used to be a player for us for a season, but great mind. Soccer IQ is amazing for him. And he's really, from what I'm hearing now from players this week, that they're really going to shine with him. But I also coach the girls side for the youth, 7th to 8th grade girls. These girls keep me on my toes. They're it's like social media, like they'll just be out of nowhere, just start dancing TikTok stuff. I'm like, what are we doing? And it's funny, but I'm also one of the dads helped me out for that team as well. So I am involved with the kids side a little bit more now than the adults. But that doesn't mean my attention isn't on both. But it's just great. It's a great balance knowing that my adults are taken care of with 2 great coaches, but I can also have some fun with the kids and watch my own kid play on the same program as well.
Long term, obviously I know you're just getting started and everything, so you're like, hold up. I'm still getting everything started here. Yeah. But when you think about long term, what's the hope? What do you envision for all of this?
So I would say long term is a funny word because launching was like long term and it came down within like 2 years. So we always set up, as you know, like you have your own business change as well. It's like you have 5-year goals, 10-year goals, and sometimes they get cut down very quick. Mm-hmm. So I would just say our long-term goal, if it comes sooner or not, is one of our teams will be officially pro very soon. We have, as you know, the soccer pyramid. We have the MLS, which is the top notch where everybody wants to go. We have the USL Championship. Then we have the NISA Pros and USL Ones. One of our teams will be in one of those leagues very soon.
You've got it right with the, like, obviously slow and steady here. You know, you said it before that there are people that just try to do things too quickly. Like, do you have a business background? Is this like tips that you've gotten from people who have done this? Because you're like, how are you controlling within yourself? Like, because you're like, I want our team to go pro, but you go, okay, I know it's going to take a while. I know we need to build. Like, how are you holding yourself back from this?
So it actually comes from some family members. Like, for example, my mother-in-law is very high up in her job. And she tends to be very blunt with me. She's like, hey, nope. But also my father as well. He'll sit me down and be like, no. Or he'd be like, hey, like too much money's being involved in this portion, relax. It's just, but with them, it's just self-experience, like they're older, they're more mature than I am. They've been through really a lot, different areas in their lives, different businesses, so they know a lot. And I'm grateful that both our families have individuals where they can be very blunt because they've been through it. But also my own coaches as well. Prime example, the women's coach, Jake Hood, I would call him a lot. Probably I call him like once a day or twice a day. He probably gets annoyed from it, but
he's going to start blocking
you.
Like,
yeah, he's like, hey, like, I love the idea, but, and then when I hear the but, I'm like, okay, emotions relax. What's the real thing? But also our board of directors, like, they will say no. Or they'd be like, that sounds good. And then the meeting will end, and then one of them will call me separately and be like, no, let's wait a little bit. And I'm like, okay. So it's hard. It's very hard because if I had it my way, I would write checks and get us up there now, but we can't be too fast. We don't want to. We work too hard to build this. We got to wait a little bit.
All right, so I'm gonna pick out a couple of questions. I'm just gonna hit you with 3 questions. So the first question that I've got for you is, what is a memory that you treasure?
That I treasure. I would say the birth of my 2 boys. That's what I would say. Aww. Birth of my 2 boys.
Are they?
My oldest
are
Sebastian
they
and my youngest
twins
Josiah.
Or different years?
Different years. My oldest is 6, and my youngest just turned 4 in March. My little one is kind of, I would say, like Flash without the stopping in it. He just runs. He's a bundle of joy, but he just doesn't stop running. It's very hard to get him. I'll probably like another year, and then I'll put him in. But right now he'll see his brother, and then they'll play tag, and they'll just run around. But those 2 are, that'll probably be my best memory is the 2 boys.
Oh, I love it. How would you define success?
Sweet and sour.
Ooh,
I'll say that.
I like that. Because
I know during my success, it's been sweet. Yeah, that was kind of cool. I should write that down somewhere. But yeah, sweet and sour. It's been kind of sweet, but at the same time, it's been sour. Because business is business. So sometimes you'll lose relationships, or sometimes you'll make a friend angry. But at the end of the day, you got to protect what you're building. So that definitely sweet and sour.
Ooh, I love it. I'm gonna put that on something and print it and friggin'.
You gonna use that?
I'm gonna frame it and put it in my house. Hell yeah, I love that.
That'd be amazing. Yeah, make sure that tag is in it.
I will. Let me see.
That'd be amazing.
I'm gonna find one more. Ooh, I like this. How do you hope to be remembered?
Honestly, just a guy that gave a chance. Just a guy that gave a chance to the ones that never got the chance or were overlooked because of grades or status quo or just size. Like if you look in Europe, the best players in the world aren't big boys. They're small, fast players that have been playing for years. So I would just want to be remembered as a guy that gave a chance and brought a whole new soccer generation for kids. A whole new soccer-like way. A different way of playing the game. You gonna frame that too?
I am. I'm gonna need a bigger picture frame and a longer wall for that. But